Hey guys, and welcome to my office. This is our third video, and today we're talking about how to make life a little bit easier when you have dogs in engagement shoots. And I'm talking to brides and to photographers. And I'm really excited because this is the only time that Michael will let Boca be in a video post. He thinks it's cheesy otherwise, and I disagree. But this is Boca Boy. He's our little mascot, and he's done this a few times, so he's ready to get down. So I'm going to talk to brides first, and these are just a few tips that we found in the last several years that have really helped us make engagement shoots go a lot easier when dogs are involved. So the first thing, first piece of advice is to have a person, to have somebody that can take care of the dog when we're done shooting with the dog, to have someone who can help us out and who can just be there in case we need someone to take the dog on a little bit of a break because they're really acting up or something like that. So you want to make sure you have somebody who can step in and just be there in case we have a little emergency. The second thing is you want to make sure you have doggy bags. And this is really important, and you would think that this is something that everyone would remember, but we forget it all the time just when we go on walks in our own neighborhood. And sometimes we forget it when we're out at an engagement shoot with the dog. So make sure you have doggy bags because it's really embarrassing when you don't. The other thing is you want to make sure you have a cute leash, and to some people this doesn't really matter, but I know for Michael and I, if we're going to have pictures with Boca, we probably would not recommend having a neon leash or a bright green leash. You want something that's not going to be a distraction, so maybe a leather leash or a navy leash or a black leash, something like that. The fourth thing is you want to make sure you have treats. And this is really important because Michael and I have no power with the dog if there's no treats involved. Normally the dogs, especially the dogs that have done obedience school, they're trained to look up at their master. And so when I'm trying to get them to look at the camera while they're sitting right beside your feet, they're naturally going to look back up at you. And so if I have a treat, then I have the power. So make sure you bring treats. And the last thing for the brides to really pay attention to when you're planning out your engagement shoot is try to let go of the worry or the stress of what if my dog doesn't behave. Michael and I totally understand that. We always get a little nervous when a bunch of new people come to our house and Boca acts like an idiot because he's so happy and he's so excited. We want people to know that he really is a good dog. And so in engagement sessions, that stress happens as well. And you just have to understand that Michael and I have seen it all. We've seen crazy dogs and we love them. We've seen really shy, fearful dogs that are just scared of everything. And we love working with all of them. And so you can't scare us, and your dog is going to be perfect and you don't have to worry about it. We can handle anything. So try to remind yourself of that when you start getting worked up and stressed about the dog being in a shoot. I will say this though, it's really helpful for us when our couple will actually reprimand the dog or really kind of get him in line, because that's something that Michael and I don't want to do. It's just like if it was a child at a family shoot. If there was a child running around, Michael and I wouldn't be the ones to reprimand the child because that's not our place. And so if the dog is acting a little bit crazy, it is your job to calm them down, bring them back to where they're supposed to be, and try to just discipline them a little bit. You want to make sure that you don't put Michael and I in a place where we have to do that, because we could never be mean to somebody's dog. So the next set, this is me talking to the photographers. We all know that sometimes when dogs are at engagement shoots, it can get a little bit stressful, and that's not a bad thing. It's just a normal thing. It's just part of life. And so the first thing I'd recommend is when you're starting the shoot, let them walk around first. Don't try to put the dog right in between them, sitting still, when the dog's been cooped up all day. You want to make sure you introduce the dog into this new situation where they're going to sniff around, they're going to be excited, they're going to be jumping around, maybe, if you have a jumper. And you want to make sure that you let them do that instead of trying to force them into a perfect pose straight off the bat. So second thing is, you want to make sure that you give up on perfection. Sometimes we have pictures that we shoot of puppies and it looks like it was perfection, but it was a happy accident, if we're being honest. In my pictures, I love being in complete control of my composition. I love it when the lines lead directly to the couple. And I have to remind myself that when it comes to puppies, that's not going to happen. And if it does happen, it's luck. So I have to give up my need for perfection in order to capture things that really matter, like the couple walking away with their puppy like they do on a normal afternoon. That's the stuff they really want to see. They don't want to see perfectly well-composed puppy shots. They just want to have their life captured. So the third thing is you want to shoot with a wider aperture. You want to make sure that when you're shooting that you don't have to worry about the dog being in focus. And if you're sitting with the couple and the dog, you're probably not going to be shooting at 1.6. You're probably going to increase that so that you have a lot of wiggle room there. There's a lot of other things to pay attention to, like is everyone looking at the camera? Is the dog paying attention, or is it about to run across the street to chase a squirrel? You're worrying about all this stuff. You want to make sure that the aperture is not something that's going to stress you out. And so the fourth thing is try not to shoot with the dog first thing. And I know this is hard sometimes, and I've totally done this and learned from it, but when you start with the dog, it gets a little bit stressful because the couple is already nervous. So I recommend starting with the couple and teaching them poses straight off the bat, like as soon as you get into the session. Get to know them, have a few minutes where you're just teaching them like what they can expect, and these are the poses that I'm going to have you do. And then once they get a little bit more comfortable, then you can enter the dog into the scene, and it won't be as stressful as if you started with the dog straight into the session. So try to avoid that if you can. And then the fifth thing is take a picture of just the puppy. And I am speaking from experience. When Michael and I had our pictures done and Boca was in them, we loved the pictures of just Boca. And I think what we loved about them is that they were pictures that we didn't take. Sometimes we forget that it's fun to have someone else take pictures of your family, and so that's what I would encourage you to do. Really pay attention to this shooting, like this part of the day, as this is a family. So you're taking a picture of the couple, and you also want to take pictures of the fur baby by himself or herself. So take a picture of just the puppy. Make sure you let them go for a walk. Make sure that you don't try to make the picture absolutely perfect. You also want to make sure that you shoot with a lot of wiggle room and with your aperture. And last but not least, you want to make sure that you don't start the shoot with the puppy because it might be a little stressful that way. So I hope this is helpful. I know it's a lot of just basic information that you would think that we would all remember, but sometimes we don't. Sometimes we forget these things. And so I hope this is helpful and that it will really help you with your next shoot that involves a puppy of some kind. So have a great day, and I hope you tune in next time.